got 5 more minutes.
Okay, we are going to pray everybody else up the stairs and sing everybody up the stairs. So let's all stand for our first song, Rise Up. Rise up. Sing them on up the stairs. Let them know church is starting. If that's all you hear today, but you're going to hear so much more, but if that was it, that'd be great. So welcome everybody. First order of business, please turn off your cell phones. They not only interfere with our sound system, they interfere with us being able to hear. So please silence or turn off your cell phones. Okay, we want to welcome everybody today, and again, we are going to start out with prayer. And the first part of the prayer is the easiest part, and that is take a deep, healing, conscious breath. And a few more of those, please. We give great thanks for this beautiful day and that we get to come together in freedom and peace and community to celebrate the magnificence of our beingness. The magnificence of being that many great teachers have told us about. Jesus told us that we are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. And we are waking up to this so much more all across this planet, all of humanity, waking up to this truth that we are the light of the world. And from the Aramaic translation, we read from the book Prayers of the Cosmos. This is from one of the Beatitudes. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. From the Aramaic, blessed are those who from their inner wombs birth mercy. They shall feel its warm arms embrace them. Aligned with the one are the compassionate. Upon them shall be compassion. Healthy are those who extend grace. They shall find their own prayers answered. Healed are those who extend a long, heartfelt breath wherever needed. They shall feel the heat of cosmic love. Tuned to the source are those who shine from the deepest place in their being. Upon them shall be the rays of universal love. And we continue with the Lord's Prayer, translated also from the Aramaic, the language of Jesus. Together, please. Father, Mother, Earther, and Breath of all, create a space inside of us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then flows through ours as energy fills all form. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment, and untangle the knots of air that bind us as we release others. Do not let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From age to age, through you flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these words be fertile statements through which our future grows. Amen, amen, and amen. Wow, the Aramaic translation, there's so much more to look at in the meaning of not only the words, but the very letters themselves. So welcome again, everybody. I'd like to introduce our team. My name is Margaret Hiller. I'm privileged to serve as spiritual leader here at Unity Christ Church. And we have our wonderful music team. We have on instruments, we have Tom and Ryan and Kevin and Dan. And Dan's son Coleman is here today. And we have Dave Lacombe. And we have, there's Coleman standing up. Yeah, come on up here, Coleman. You can't be a musician and come and not play, okay? And Dave Lacombe, and we have our singers Marlene and Ann and Mary Lou and Patty and Lori. And aren't we blessed? Yes. And we have on sound Danielle, and we have our ushers Pam and Sandy. And our children today will be with Delaney and Elsie Ann. And PowerPoint was created by Javier, and Javier's back from his yoga training. Welcome back, Javier. And Heaven is stepping in for Bunny, who's not here today. And we can hold her in prayer to feel better. And Kevin stepped up to do the video today. Welcome, everybody. It takes a village to create a church, don't we know? Okay, so as we move into our next song, we're going to pass the duo cans. This is not our regular offering. This is for your loose change, and it helps to support some folks in the community. I can tell you the Duo Fund helps a lot of folks make it through some tough situations. Your generosity is appreciated. Let's stand for this next old and favorite among many of us hymn, Amazing Grace.
Now grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already passed. His grace that brought me safe thus far to freedom nonetheless.
Beautiful. I feel my grandparents are singing with us. Y'all have a seat, and we're going to invite our speaker and meditation giver and children's blessing giver, our own beloved Susan Boles, up to the children's blessing now. And all children, tall and small, please come on up.
Come on up. I am so glad you're here. My goodness, are you the only people in smaller bodies here today? I think that you are. I would like for you to look at the screen. That's what I want you to see. Now, who can read what that says? Yes. Big me and little me. Did you know that there's a big you and a little you? And there's even a big me and a little me, even though this might not look real little to you all. It is little. All right. I would like for all of you to stand up because the big me is oh so much bigger than our bodies. So let's stand up and say, I am the big me. I am the big me. Oh, so big. How far out did that go? Way out. Way out. We can't even reach it with our fingers, can we? All right, now in that picture up there, what part of that picture do you think could be the big me? Y'all can sit back down if you want to. What part of that picture is the big me? Well, I'll ask an easier question. What part is the little me? The person there is the person. All right, look out there. Do you see any little me's out there? Ooh, the room is full of little me's. But the big question is the room full of big me's? What do you think? You don't know. What do you think? Well, you all just stood up and said, I am the big me.
Stand up here, sweetie.
Well, that's all right. Well, what is the biggest thing in that picture there? The sun. The sun. And when we think of the sun, we think of light, don't we? Yes. So, the big you is light. Could you imagine that you are really a big sun? And how many suns are there? Just one sun. All right. So, the big me is the one. Like the one light. Now, which is more important? And I warn you, this is a trick question. Which is more important, the big me or the little me? It's a trick question because they are both important. Do you know why they're both important? Because the big me shines through the little me, doesn't it? Yeah. When you look in people's eyes, do you see lights? Yeah, that's the shining of the light. Ooh, let me see. Oh, you have a bright light. All of you have a bright light. You can see the bright light too, can't you? Yes, you can. And that's an important thing. When you can see a brother's light, you can probably see most everybody's light. So congratulations, that's great. All right, so the message I would like for you to know is that, are we just a little me? No. We are a little me, but the little me is very, very important because the big me needs something to shine through while we're walking around on earth, right? Okay, so let's stand up again, and I want you all to say, I am the big me. Do your hands. I'm the big me. And now pat yourself, I'm the little me. Yeah, and they are both important because the big me needs something so that it can shine through. You got it? All right, next slide. And the good thing is if we can allow the big me, the light, to always shine through us so that our eyes look out there and see the big part of them. Do you think that all of those people are part of the big light? Yeah, they are, just like you are. So, is that something that you would like to do today? Every time you look at someone, look and see if you can see the light in their eyes. And maybe that'll bring a smile to your lips to remind you of love. Now, they are already standing, and let us bless the people out there. Together.
We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you, and we love you just the way you are. Good job, everybody.
And have a wonderful day.
Okay, we've got a few announcements. You see these 3 backpacks up here. We are collecting backpacks for Hope House to help support some of the homeless kids at Myrtle Beach High School. So you simply buy a backpack, fill it with school supplies, paper, pens, highlighters. Some of us are putting in food carts and toiletries as well. And trail mix, anything that you think someone having a tough time getting through high school because their home situation is not stable. Okay, potluck today. Right after service, everyone's invited. They're putting the food together downstairs now. And we have today, our beautiful Susan Boles is our Sunday service speaker. And this afternoon, she'll be doing a presentation starting at 1:30 about her recent journey to India, the Oneness University, and the whole phenomenon of oneness that's sweeping the planet. And also our Unity Conference is coming up, and that's in September up near Asheville. If you want to be a part of that, early bird rate goes on until August 15th. So there's flyers downstairs, and it's also on the bulletin board. And now Kate Richter is coming up. She's our treasurer. Everybody, the treasurer deserves extra points in heaven.
Got extra points here, all which is heaven. Okay, so you can see on the board for, okay, it says June and July, but it's really July only. And I want to just make a clarification. Our weekly budget that you see there encompasses all the income that we take in, not only our Sunday tithes, but all of our workshops, our classes, our special events, everything. So we've just taken the annual budget overall and divided it by 52, and that's where we get that $31.45 a week. So you can see summertime, people are away, and so we're a little shy there, but I do want to let you know that the birthday party in June really helped us come up, and we're about break-even point on our budget for our income and expenses through June. We're not at our budget, but for the income that we've brought in and the expenses that have gone out, we are about even. So that's very good. And then I guess you've got the next. Okay, so this is our next fundraiser, is the Golf Classic. And I just wanted to let everybody know. Now, I have everybody's addresses. So if I hand you an envelope, that means we don't have your address on record. When we had our computer glitch and Cha-Cha lost the hard drive, we lost a lot of our address database, so we need to recreate it. So I have a mailing that is going out this week. Some went out on Friday, so some of you may have gotten it on Saturday. But this is in reference to our golf fundraiser, and so there's a letter, the flyer that gives all the specs on the golf, and then the third item is a sponsorship opportunity. We've got a ton of different ways that everybody can participate, either by golfing. You know, even if you don't golf like me, I know people who golf. We'd love to be able to invite them to our golf tournament. We've got day of event opportunities for people to volunteer. We've got our golf committee is meeting this afternoon right after service. So anybody who's interested to help on the committee, grab, if people can let those folks get their food first and then go into the activity room, that would be great. Did I forget anything, Pam?
Yes, next board.
Next board meeting. Okay, so August 12th, so it's a week from Monday, is our next board meeting, and everybody's welcome to attend. This is an open church. This is your church, and so 5:30 potluck. Feel free to come, or we'll be down in the activities room. The revitalization committee. Maybe Miss Mary, and if the folks who are on the revitalization committee can raise their hand or stand up so we know who you are, that would be great. So Mary's the only one here today. So Mary, stand up. Oh, Tom. Okay, so these folks are on our revitalization committee, and we're looking for someone with a good eye for color and someone with interior design. I don't see Lonnie here today. I know she's an interior designer. But anybody who feels called to who has an eye for color and can help with design and that kind of thing, they're looking for somebody to help with that.
Okay, good job. Okay, everybody take a deep breath. There's a lot going on here. We also want to thank Angie and her husband. Is Angie here? Yes, Angie and her husband came in here last week and cleaned the carpet in the fellowship hall. There's going to be more revitalization, but that was one revitalization that a lot of us are giving great thanks for. So before we potluck it up today, see how clean the carpet is. After potluck, we make no promises. Okay, so I would like to tell you a few brief things about Unity. I was going through some of the boxes of free books and pamphlets that Mary Ann Finch brought in. She's our founding mother. And by the way, many of those are still down in the activities room. You're welcome to take any of those that you like. Some of them went into our Unity library, some to the used book section down in the bookstore. This is from 1994. This is the Unity magazine from 1994. And the cover says, Universal Oneness, the future that won't wait. Isn't that great? 1994. And there's a article in here entitled When the Hedges Came Down at Unity. So in 1994, they were aware that Unity had in some ways been kept a great secret in the world. And Unity Village was surrounded by hedges. I didn't know that. And they took the hedges down to open up the energy for more people to know about Unity and find their way to Unity, and for Unity as a movement to open up to the great teachings in the world and the newest, more recent discoveries and openings of spirit happening in the world. Isn't that fabulous? It's sort of like when I got here, there was a wall up here, right, Jenny? Jenny was the board president, and there's a wall right up here. And it made the sanctuary smaller, so I made a phone call to Jenny. I said, Jenny, I think it's time for the wall to come down. And within 7 days, the wall was down, repaired, renewed, opened up, and it's changed everything. So the hedges came down. So it's a great teaching for all of us and our spiritual awakening that there will be moments when we are invited to open up even more our hearts and our minds and let our own hedges come down. Right, Wanda? Right, everybody? Are you feeling any of your hedges coming down lately? Okay, let's continue with our Unity Statement of Purpose. All together, please. I am the consciousness of Unity Christ Church, a a unified board and congregation, nurturing spiritual growth, inspiring creativity, sharing time, talents, treasures, and expanding awareness of divine oneness. I love that. Well, we want to give a welcome to everyone today. All the people who show up to help create church every Sunday. The dedication is so powerful. And all of you who come to lend your energy, we welcome you all. And first-time visitors, we especially want to welcome this morning. So anybody here for the first time? Would you stand up, please, and tell us your name and where you're visiting from?
Joseph Michael, live in Conway.
Conway, welcome. Welcome. Yes, ma'am. Welcome. Welcome. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Amelia Massey and I live right down the road.
Welcome. Okay.
Here at Ford, I live in Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach. Anybody else? I love it, all the locals this morning. We usually have Pennsylvania, Fairfax, Virginia, New York. So welcome all you locals. Anybody else? Yes, and of course, again, we welcome
My name is Owen. I'm here from Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama. And also break into sweet home, Alabama. Don't quit my day job. Thank you, Charlotte. Okay, let's continue with Daily Word. Our affirmation for today is worthy. I am worthy of my good. Everybody say this together. I am worthy of my good. And the Daily Word says, like all people, I want a good life. Loving relationships, rewarding work, and abiding peace. Yet, these blessings may elude me until I awaken to my inherent worth. I am created in the image and likeness of God. My worth does not depend on my behavior. I am intrinsically worthy because I am a living, loving, divine creation. Ooh, that's an affirmation. Honey, remember that for your next CD. I am a living, loving, divine creation. Let's say that together. I am a living, loving, divine creation. When doubts arise, I remember the truth of my being. The good I seek is right where I am. The love I desire is the love of God already present. The work I long to do is Spirit's calling within me. As I stand in my own sacred worth, I feel the blessings of God infill me. I am worthy of my good. I expect the best, and I am ready to receive. And from the book of Ruth, now, my daughter, do not be afraid. I will do for you all that you ask, for all the assembly of my people know that you are a worthy woman. And let's do that affirmation again. I am worthy of my good. Ooh, I like that today. So we're going to sing our next song, which is I Send My Love Over the Mountain. For those of you who don't know, this was written by Karen Drucker and also Joyce Ripp, who I don't see here this morning. Joyce Ripp is a part of our community, and we love this song. Okay, and I would also like to say a few words about our speaker this morning, Susan Boles. Most of you know and love, right? Yes. Actually, that doesn't sound right. You all love Susan, and most of you know who I'm talking about when I say Susan Boles. Susan was a part of this community long before I arrived in 2005. Susan was a part of the team who helped pray me in here. And I have to say that I could not have done all these years here without Susan. That's how important she is to this community. And she is our speaker today. We're very blessed to have her. So we're going to sing this song, which is Susan's request. This is one of her favorite songs. Oh, no. It's not here yet, is it? Seeds of Light is your favorite song. Would you make this one your favorite song, too? Okay. So we're going to sing this song, and then Susan's going to bless us.
I sent my love
I can't tell you how delighted I am to be here today because my husband and I just got back from a 2-week trip to New Hampshire, and I've been in an environment where I wasn't able to share any of this. So I'm ready to talk. And I mentioned someone this morning, many of you know, I was in India for almost a 2-week trip. And it takes a long time to go over there on a spiritual journey and then to bring it back and to find out who you are in your new self in your old environment. And only today I think that I am really back. So, I did go to Oneness University. Usually they have a 28-day program for awakening. And they decided that they would ramp it up for New Thought ministers, teachers, and leaders, and combine the 28 days into 6 days. Yes, wow. And the small part you cannot read under the Oneness Process for Ministers, it says, awakening leaders to awaken humanity. Every morning when we got up, we were asked to let the first minute of prayer, maybe half a minute, be a prayer for the awakening of all of us in the group who were attending. And then they said, and after that's done, I want your first minute of prayer every morning to be the awakening of your own community. So you all have certainly been included every morning, and I would encourage you all to do the same thing. I was in a group of 54 people, and what a sterling group we had. We extended from the West Coast to the East Coast and places in between. And I was surprised I wasn't even the oldest person in the group. There was one person older than I, and she was beautiful. Yes, well, thank you very much. Oh my goodness. Is this the order I have them in? I guess it is. It's the order that is. All right. I spent 2 nights in Chennai, the largest city on the southeast coast of India, the 4th largest city in India, and before going to Oneness University. So that was where I met the group. And it was nice to have 2 days because it was more than 24 hours from the time I left Myrtle Beach Airport before I landed just after midnight in Chennai, and it was the following day. So a little bit of sleep was appreciated, to say the least. I want you to know, when we arrived at Oneness University, we had registration, and then we had dinner. We were the first group they had there that they served organic Ayurvedic food to, because their research has showed that that is the diet that makes it most easy to awaken. So I didn't have to worry about eating something so hot that my mouth would be on fire for the rest of the evening. Only a little bit of that. They came around at dinner that first evening and let us know that our class would begin at 6:45 the next morning. Okay. The latest we ever began was 7 a.m. And there was one day when we had to be at a bus stop at the end of Campus 3 at 6:15 a.m. So we did not have to be concerned about getting too much sleep at all. Joanna Adams, who's sitting back there, went on the trip with me. And this was our home. We were on Campus 3 at Oneness University. In that building, there are 4 rooms downstairs and 4 rooms upstairs. And we were in G2. Very comfortable. Single beds, private bath. And it had some interesting little things that I don't have time to go into right now, but we were very comfortable. This is Patricia Peel. She is a retired Unity minister from California, and she was the leader of our group. She was a part of a group, a 28-day awakening process that ended last December 21st. And so she is an awakened one, and it was not hard at all to believe that that was the truth. She arranged 54 people just with the greatest of ease, and she kept saying, oh, everything was easy. Everything just flowed. Everything happened. In Chennai, that big, big city, you all have probably heard about India traffic. Oh boy. Wonderful Joanna could just go very confidently through 20 lanes of traffic that had 20 cars, 15 motorcycles, motorized rickshaws, etc., etc. And on the way from the airport, it was at night, given, but our driver did not stop for one red light. When we looked up to see a red light, he just goes beep, 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 beep. And you can see we got there. And before I got to Monash University, I was able to flow. I looked around me, and things that back in the U.S. I would have felt as far as traffic went, I just went with the flow. I knew that everything was going to be all right. And I feel that that is the spiritual philosophy in India. Everything just flows. No, we don't want to stay here in this little box. We welcome the new. We welcome new ideas. And we just flow with whatever is going to occur. So, a little bit before 6:45 that first morning, we walked down this walkway and turned to our left in the picture, and it brought us to these doors. This was called meditation room, and it was in this meditation room that we began our learning and our unlearning. You already know that learning requires probably more unlearning than it requires learning. And would you believe, at that early hour in the morning, all of us were there early, and the doors were closed. And not until 6:45 did they open. And we entered one by one. I get choked up thinking about it now. As each of us entered the room, Patricia placed a red bindi on our forehead. And then Doug Bentley, an American guide who lives at Monash University, sprinkled us with what you and I would probably call holy water or blessed water. And so we entered through that door. It was a gate for me, knowing that something wondrous was going to happen. So, what went on? The focus of the whole week, of course, the awakening of all 53 participants. Patricia was already awakened. The greatest teacher, always the inner experience. It's not words that awaken anybody. Words have never awakened anybody. It is only the inner experience. So I invite us all now to take one of Margaret's favorite deep breaths. And as we do that, you might even want to open your eyes, your arms a little bit, this indicating an openness. That is where it is. Our teachers in physical bodies were 3 dasas or guides who live at this university. I've mentioned Doug Bentley, who is the only American guide at Monash University. And he has been there now 5 years. obviously very happily. And the other two teachers were a man and a woman, both who were born in India. They were obviously exceedingly enlightened. And we were told that our male teacher, Kumara, was one of the oneness beings at Oneness University. And they would be people who are really awakened. Awakening is not a destination, it's just the beginning of another journey. And that's what I like best about God, because there's always more. We heard familiar words and were invited to listen to them with a new perception in a different way. And we experienced the divine a la India. Now, India is, of course, predominantly Hindu. I was very surprised before I left to read that there are more Christians in India than there are.
Say that again, you cut out.
I'm still out. Now I'm in. Okay, there are more Christians that live in India than there are Buddhists that live in India. That was a surprise to me. Maybe it's not a surprise to you. So, India, as I mentioned, for centuries has had a strong spiritual presence. People for years and years have gone to India on spiritual journeys. And I'm not sure I always understood why. I personally am not one to worship somebody wearing skin. So I was not going to go to worship a guru. That didn't appeal to me. And I kind of thought that was what India was. But it's not. In India, a spiritual path or a spiritual journey is really mapped out for a person. It is what is expected. Of course, you're not going to begin here and stay here all of your life. You're going to spiritually grow and expand from one thing, and you don't necessarily leave the old thing behind, but you expand into a new thing, and a newer thing, and a newer thing. We had a puja ceremony. I think that was maybe the second day that we were there. And that was the last, it was the last thing we did before sun meal. And a puja ceremony is when you make offerings to the divine. And there are always rose petals and rice. Sometimes there's freshly cut fresh fruit and things of that nature. Now you'll be interested to know what was on our altar, which was a flat table. And of course, the picture of Amma Bhagwan, who are the founders of the Oneness Movement and the Oneness University, were on the altar. Man and wife. They've been together for a very, very long time. When Bhagwan was a little boy, you know how you say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? He would say words to the effect, when I grow up, I want to eliminate suffering by helping people to awaken as God. That was all he ever said. He never changed his story of what he wanted to be. And when Amma, his wife, was asked what she wanted to do when she grew up, she just said, I'm going to marry God. Interesting. They were both well educated. They were educators. They had a school where people boarded. I think it was all boys. And so that is a little bit of their background. And I can hardly wait till this afternoon when I can tell you some of my most intimate experiences, the things that meant the most to me deep down inside. And interestingly enough, the time at my Boles University when I suffered the most. It's interesting, they go together, hand in glove. That's part of the teaching that I'm really eager to share. All right, in India, people are used to having a personal divine. It reminded me of the old fundamental things of Christianity that I must confess I had kind of gone about. A personal relationship with your divine. And especially in our southern United States, that is a personal relationship with Jesus. When the Christian movement went to India, they were delighted because when they went in and talked about Jesus and his miracles and his teachings, the Indian people embraced that immediately. And they thought, hey, this is pretty cool. But then they were invited into one of the Indians' houses. And it's common for Indian homes to have what they call a puja room. And in the puja room, they have statues or pictures of all of their personal divine, we'll call them gods or whatever. And so they went in, and yes indeed, Jesus was in the Indian's home, in the puja room, where all of the personal divine statues and pictures were. I don't know how pleased they were with that. There's a wonderful story. Some of you may have heard it before. There was a Muslim. Muslims eat meat. And a Hindu. Hindus consider the cow sacred, and they do not eat meat. And the Hindu saw a Muslim cut off the head of the cow. And he was horrified, really horrified. And he looked at the Muslim and he said, my God will bring this cow back to life in 3 days. So the Muslim said, okay. And he said, if that doesn't happen, I'm going to have your head cut off. So the Hindu prayed to his personal God, who was Krishna. He prayed and he prayed and he prayed. After 24 hours, the cow still laid there without its head. The Hindu prayed and prayed and prayed. And the second day, the cow was still lying there. So the Muslim was saying, well, I thought your God was so powerful. What's going on? What's wrong? And so by now, the Hindu's, appreciating his own neck and wondering what's going to happen. So the third morning came, and the cow was lying dead, and frankly, getting kind of smelly by now. And so the Muslim said, okay, I'll give you about that much more time. I need to see this cow rise up. So the Hindu prayed and prayed and prayed to his personal divine, Krishna. And the cow stood up with its head and just sauntered off. Well, the Hindu went, wow, that was a close one. The Muslim was duly impressed, needless to say. And when the Hindu was alone, he had we would say a come to Jesus meeting, but it probably wasn't a come to Jesus meeting, but he had a come to Krishna meeting with his personal God, Krishna. And said, well, why on earth did it take you 3 days to bring this cow back to life? Where were you? And Krishna said, well, you said it would come back to life in 3 days. Be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you ask for. And Krishna wasn't real pleased with that man either, because he said, "What, do you not have faith in your personal God?" So the idea of a personal God is very, very big in India. Oh, phooey. I wanted to tell you another story, but I don't have time to. So, experiencing the personal divine. I cut out again. Experiencing the personal divine. India. And that is a...
Okay, wait, we're losing you.
Please don't lose me.
Okay, there you go.
I went halfway across. Wouldn't be lost. Experiencing
Move over here, since you need to be in the zone.
personal divine. And so part of what I did behind those closed doors in the meditation room was meet, create my personal divine. There were no rules, there were no limitations at all, but we were given many, many opportunities to kind of cozy up in our hearts with the spiritual divine. I learned a great deal about praying, and I have a great deal more to learn. But I know more than I have ever known before that God, the divine, is indeed personal to each one of us to the degree that we allow it. We have all wanted to have a best friend, someone who would always listen to us, someone who would never criticize us, and someone who would never judge us. And I've never met anyone like that with skin on. I don't know if you all have or not. So it is magnificent to experience that within. And I'm saying within, but there are times when I feel my personal divine as the big me holding me within its heart. So sometimes that personal divine lives right here, but most of the time now, I am living within the heart of the personal divine. I encourage you to try that out. It works. I felt that the personal divine, that Jesus, or we could imagine at least from Jesus' words, that he experienced God as a personal divine. He referred to God as Father. He said, I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. Just as I said, I am within my personal divine, just as my personal divine is within me. And I remember, I think it was the miracle feeding the 5,000. He looked up and he said, I don't know if he used the word Father there or not. He said, I know you always hear me. Doesn't your best friend always hear you? Yes. The answer is yes. I am in the Father is in me. The Father and I are one. It's my perception today that the Father Jesus spoke of was indeed the personal way in which he related to God. And he said, of course, it is not I that do the works. It is the Father within. It is not I that do the works. It is always the divine, the personal divine. This is the Om symbol, and I can't tell you what all the lines mean, but I was reading about it just recently, and each part of the Om symbol as it is drawn represents a different level of being, from physical to inner, like kind of the meditative self that we are. And then the fourth state is something that the author could not even describe. So close your eyes just a minute And just imagine the divine, imagine God. Feel it expanding within you. That feeling cannot be put into words. It just is. So that symbol represents the divine in all of its unlimited aspects. My message to you today is that every single one of you has access to that divine. And you gain that access. Well, yeah, we have to clear out a lot of baggage, and I didn't talk about that part, but we did a lot of that too. But the more we let go of things, the more is able to come in, the more the divine is able to come into our lives. And our music group is going to come up now, and they're going to sing one of my favorite songs. I guess so, Terry, when I hear it, it's hard to talk afterwards. Seeds of Light, Children of the Sun. That was kind of what we were talking about with the children. The light is all here. It is impossible for us to be anywhere except in the light. And we are seeds yearning, at least I know if you're in this room, you are a little seed of light just yearning to burst and to know your oneness with the greater light. And the words are going to be behind me, and if you do sing, I hope that you will let this song be a part of your meditation.
Once there was a spark, a little seed of light, drifting through the dark. Wanting to be bright, gently fell to earth. Joyfully it grew, emerging in its birth. As the miracle of you, we are seeds of light, children
I invite you to direct your attention to your love center, your heart center. I invite you to imagine yourself there as a seed of light. A beautiful seed of light. So very eager to awaken, to shine with the full glory of the light from which you were created. Invite your personal divine to join you within your heart center, within your love center. That might be any avatar, spiritual teacher, alive or one that you have admired your whole lifetime. There are no rules. There might be more than one that enters. But send out the invitation and accept whatever light being enters. And that being of light is there special just for you, no one else. Your relationship with that light being is yours and yours alone. If you would like to, you could even cuddle up in the lap of that divine figure. Enjoy the embrace. Hear the divine whisper, I love you. I have loved you since the very beginning. I love you. You are my best friend. I want to be your best friend. So rest a few moments in the silence, all cozied up with the divine of your heart. Allow the feelings of gratitude to well up. And perhaps you will make a promise to continue the conversation, the feeling, the interaction later today. And as you open your eyes, I want you to know beyond any shadow of a doubt that you do have a very, very best friend, a divine one, a miracle worker. All you and I need to do is just say yes. So as we open our eyes, let us say or let us sigh a collective yes. 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 And so it is. That is the truth.
Thank you, Susan. I am looking forward to being here this afternoon and hearing some of the details that we didn't talk about today. One of the things that strikes me about the Oneness movement, the Oneness University, is that people from all over the world, all different faiths and spiritual paths, make their way to the university and then go back home into their own communities, their own churches and synagogues and temples and mosques, and do the oneness work in their own communities and their own spiritual community. Is that fabulous?
Yes.
I mean, this is what our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, saw could happen in the world. And that is that we could live in oneness as a human family and stop our fighting between religious beliefs. And don't you think it's about time?
Amen.
Okay. So if you can be here this afternoon, 1:30, and if you've already made plans, you might want to rethink them. We'll go to a potluck downstairs after service, and then we'll be back up here at 1:30. So we want to continue now with the spiritual blessing of this community by receiving of our tithes and offerings. And if you're making a check, it's made out to UCC or Unity Christ Church. Know that your board is made up of a group of fabulous leaders and visionaries, and we are in constant prayer to know how to use the funds here in the most powerful ways. We have an offertory blessing with hand movements, and if you will please follow the screen with the words and the hand movements, I am light, flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace. And now we have another song from our wonderful music team.
My sweet Lord, my Lord, my Lord, I really want to see you, really want to feel you.
so we want to continue to bless all of these offerings and tithes. So appreciated. I am light flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace. So we have a few more quick announcements, and that is that Sunday morning circle is looking at Dr. Chris Baish's teachings about the greatest religions of the world, and including the topic of reincarnation. He's former director of education at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, and this is a preview of his work because he'll be here in November. And Gentle Yoga Mondays and Thursdays, and we have the book group Untethered Soul on Wednesdays, and we have contemplative service Wednesday night. And right after contemplative service, we will have our Unity Healing and Prayer service first Wednesday of the month. Each month, that's with Olivia Rose. Course in Miracles, Mark Brinus, and Oneness Blessing right after service. Now, did we skip that Reiki is happening tomorrow night?
4 o'clock, 4 to 6.
Tomorrow,
4 to 6.
4 to 6, Reiki share down in the activities room. And the free books and pamphlets are still downstairs. That's it. We can get to the potluck and then back for Susan at 1:30. Okay, let's do our prayer of protection for all of us and all those we're holding in our hearts. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now our peace song, we sing it like a prayer. Is the light all the way turned up, or am I? There we go, the light. Okay, let there be peace. Here we go.